Girl Kimmi, number one notary educator. How are you? Teaching you all things about the notary business, how to grow, how to do the job, how to be successful, and get to the bag, as they say. How's it going? How's it going? So, I want to welcome all those who are live, those who will watch the replay, those who will listen to the podcast. Hello. So today we are continuing our series in loan signing training. And today we will be talking about the buyer's package. Okay. All of the packages you will see have a little similarity, but today I'm going to focus on the buyer's package. If you already missed it, I did loan modifications a couple of days ago. Hey, Rashante, you're back. How are you? I did the loan modification package, talked about that. Yesterday we did the seller's package. Today we're doing a buyer's package. So as you can see, there are many types of packages. But the way I teach and the way I want you to understand as a notary loan signing agent is it doesn't really matter what the package is. As long as you know how to properly notarize it, you can get it completed, okay? That's what I want you to take away from this. So I am going to go into a little detail about the package. But again, hey, Nyla, New Jersey's in the house. But again, I don't want you focusing on what kind of package, but I'm just going over this with you because many people want to know about the different packages. They want to know what they're getting into. And one day somebody gave me a little feedback. They were like, well, Kimmi, don't be so hard on people because they want to see what the packages are before they get started. It's not that I'm being hard on you, but I don't want you to limit yourself and say, well, I can only do a buyer's package. I can only do a seller's package. No, with proper training, proper skill set, you can do anything somebody puts in front of you, even notarize this little sticky here. Look, this little sticky note can be notarized, okay? If you know how to do it. There's nothing you can't notarize if you know how to do it properly. Rashante says, oh, hey, Renaa. Is it Renee or Renaa? Renaa says, hello there. How are you? Rashante says, doing well, patiently waiting to get commissioned. Yes, it takes a moment sometimes. Some states take a little bit longer than others. Lori W's in the house. What's up, girl? How are you? Rashante says, I hope you're okay today. Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Had appointments this morning, kind of free right now, but I'm open until whenever really, but technically on paper I close at 8. So you guys know I'm a night owl, so I'd rather work in the evening than early morning. But let's get right into our training we're going to do today. So we're talking about a buyer's package. What is a buyer's package? I think we need to go back just a wee bit because sometimes people get confused when we say notary loan signing agent. You may hear executive signing agent. All of those terms are interchangeable and it all means the same thing. A notary that can do loan documents at the end of the day. So don't get excited thinking you're, some big, we are important, but don't think it's something, wow, I'm an executive, this or that. No, at the end of the day, you're just a notary to have a little more training and know how to do loan documents, okay? And hopefully we can be a part of your training. And I will go ahead and tell you now really quick about my new book, Become a Notary Signing Agent. It's not that complicated. So in the book, though, I go into everything you need to know about becoming a signing agent. But we're going to today, like I said, do a little training here about buyer's packages. So what is a buyer's package? How large is it? What can you expect? A buyer's package is just that. Typically, your client will be purchasing a home. Okay. It could also be land involved. Okay. And what happens with a buyer's package is you will either get this particular signing or package from a lender. They will find you on Google. That's why I'm really big on having that Google My Business page maximized. They will find you directly, or either it will come through a signing company. That's why I recommend being NNA certified, National Notary Association certified. Does that mean you don't need our training because you did the NNA training? No, you still need our training because our training is more practical. But if you want to work with signing companies, you have to have the NNA background check. A lot of people will disagree with me on that, but I always give it to you straight, and I don't like to cut off any streams of possible revenue. So I am going to be signing up with the NNA. I'm going to do their background check. Not that I'm going to, I already am. I'm actually an ambassador for the NNA, okay? But then that's not why I'm telling you to sign up, but I'm just telling you what happens out here in the real world. If you want to work with certain companies, they require that background check, okay? So, um, so they will call you. Sometimes your client will have their package already, okay? Their attorney has sent them the documents, and your client will call you and say, hey, they don't know it's a buyer's package. They will just call you and say, hey, I have these documents that need to be notarized. This is why you need to know how to ask the right screening questions, which I teach you. I'm going to give you a couple right now. You want to ask your client, when they call you, the conversation will sound something like this. Hey, Miss Notary, I have these documents that need to be notarized. I got them from my attorney. So your screening questions, well, one of them will be, what kind of documents are they? And when they say, oh, I'm buying a home. Now, this might be not where they have a lender involved, okay? Not a lender. This might be a little old home that maybe the parents had died and the kids are just selling it for a cheaper amount or something. More like a little private sale, okay? Um, and they say, well, we're going to sell this person a house for 100,000. They have cash, and they come up with their own little agreement, or the attorney drew up the documents. So that's why you have to ask questions, though, because if you don't, your client will come to you with these documents. You're thinking, oh, it's just a little quick one-page document, when it's actually a whole buyer's package when they're buying a property. Now you need to be charging more money too, because it's mortgage, it's property involved, right? So it's not just a regular notary. And some people say, well, it doesn't matter what kind of document it is. Yes, it does. When I'm pricing my services, yes, I'm trying to make sure of what the document is, because the value of the paper, okay? And when I say that, it's even with any industry, certain things have a higher value attached to it. You know, if I buy a Mercedes Benz, they got the lower end Mercedes, they got the souped up end, right? The SUV version, or they got the little compact version. So it does matter what type of documents we're notarizing. So in a buyer's package, though, typically you will may or may not need witnesses depending on what type of documents are in there. Again, that's why your screening questions are so important. You have to ask your screening questions. So one document that may require a set of witnesses could be affidavit. And so when they're getting money back, sometimes they want the actual document notarized with a witness or so when they're getting money back, to make sure you put this account number. This is for the person receiving the money, that they're receiving $100,000. The notary signs it, the client signs it, and it also may require 2 witnesses on that document. So each package is going to be completely different. That's why the number one thing I teach when we first start working together is, do not memorize documents. I just want you to know what's out there and what you could see in these different packages, okay? Hold on one second. Let's get back to the chat really quick. So Lori W, we said hi. Hey Lisa, how are you? Miss Anita, hi. I saw you join the membership. How are you, Miss Anita? So our first live membership session will be Friday night. We're going to be talking about field inspections, how to add that to your business. Oh, I think it's translation services. I'm sorry, not field inspection. I think it's translation services. Let me see right quick, because I need to be accurate, because somebody's going to say, I thought it was field inspection. Wait a minute. Let me just double check Friday night. I think we did field inspection already. And if you missed it, you can always go back and catch the replay. Oh, field inspection is at the end of the month. That's why that's on my mind. Okay, so this coming Friday, we're going to do how to add translation services to your notary business. So there's an actual course on that. And then we're going to deep dive into it so you can actually start adding that service, okay? So translation services. You can buy the course separately if you don't want to be a part of mentorship. All courses are on sale, 60% off. Coupon code is WIN2025. WIN2025 at notaryeducatorsllc.com. So let's get back to our buyer's package. So the buyer's package, how many pages is a buyer's package? I've seen them as small as 20, and as much as 150. Okay. as much as 150. So within 150 pages that you do need to print, 90% of the time, occasionally, I did tell you already that the buyer will have their own package, right? So you don't have to do any printing, but most of the time you're going to have to be printing. So I like to just go ahead and give you the worst of the, the actual scenario. So you will be printing that document 2 times, one for you and one for if you have to print it, it's going to be one for the buyer and then one you're going to be sending back to the company. Okay, so somebody asked me in the chat yesterday, I hope they're watching today, why do you need to print 2? Because that is an industry standard to print 2. Now, it depends on what type of document it is, because typically your loan modification packages, they want 2 executed and they want 1 left with the client. If you don't know what execution is, you probably need to be in training, but I'm going to tell you right now because that's how I roll. To execute the documents means to get them signed, basically, okay? But you do need to know that verbiage because you want to sound like a pro. So you don't want, if someone calls you and say, hey, I need to get 2 sets executed, you'd be like, what does that mean? That means they want 2 sets signed and 1 left with the client, or maybe just 2 signed, okay? But that's what the executing of documents is, to make sure they're complete, they're thorough. You're checking for accuracy also, okay? Rashante says, oh, Lori and Lisa just saying hey to each other. Rashante says, that's good information. I will be watching the replay and taking notes. Yes, do that. Take some notes, huh? And Lisa says, welcome to the fam, Miss Anita. Yes, welcome. So, yeah, and again, we'll meet. Hopefully, you'll be able to make it on Friday night to our actual session, okay? And I'll tell you a little bit more about mentorship in a moment. So what else about the buyer's package? Again, so I said about 150 pages would be typically the most. I've had them as many as 180. Now, this is depending on what state the property is being sold. Some states don't require as much as others. Some states require like your whole left leg, okay? And if that's the case, then it will take a little bit longer. Typical number of notarizations in a buyer's package, again, can be anywhere to like 3 up to 10. And that's just depending on what documents are included in the package. And every single package will be different. How much does a typical buyer's package pay when it comes? So if it's direct, that means the client is calling you directly from your Google page or something. And depending on your area again, so I'm in Georgia, I'll just give you a roundabout. California might be $100 difference. Let's say a typical buyer's package anywhere from like $125 to $225, just depending on where you are. Let me see what this says. Hold on. Just depending on where you are located. So, and again, I do ask, and I don't just assume because it's a buyer's package it's going to be 200 pages. I don't assume it's going to be 20 pages. That's why I do still kind of ask my client, well, about how many spaces are there for the notary to sign? Because again, I told you it could be anywhere from 20, 30 pages all the way up to 180. So, the larger the package lets you know how many notarizations and how long it's going to take. All right. So typically buyer's packages, along with all the other ones we're going to discuss and have already talked about, they will require, I'm sorry, Jeffrey needs to come in here. But I am doing my live. Let me see, can I move the camera so you can come in? Hold on one second. Let's do like that. Jeffrey, you can come in for a minute. I moved the camera. So when it comes to doing the buyer's package, though, I was just going to tell you something. I forgot just that quick. He threw me when I had to let him in the room. He's getting ready to cut the grass. For those of you who are interested, right in the middle of my live, you got to come in my office here. You see me working on my thumbnail, a little behind the scenes footage. Got the ring light, my microphone that I hardly ever use. I do use it when I go on the Zooms, though. I do. Fan for when I get hot. Clock, clock, clock. Okay, let's come back around. Okay. So we worked that out. What else about a buyer's package? Oh, scan backs. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, so buyer's packages, it's really important to double check your work before you send back a buyer's package. And typically they want scan backs on that. If you don't know what a scan back is, You will learn that very quickly. And they use those scan backs. You send it back to the hiring company or attorney, whoever needs those documents, and they'll use those documents to actually facilitate the closing on the other end. So sometimes, so for example, that's why time is so important. If you have a signing, it's at 4 o'clock, and they say, "Hey, we need them docs back by 5." They need it back by that time that they tell you, so they can use the documents for the next business day. They may not always wait on the originals to get back or the wet signed copy. Okay, so if you want more information about becoming a notary signing agent, I will refer you to my new book, Become a Notary Signing Agent. It's not that complicated. You can find it at notaryeducatorsllc.com under the book collection. And also, this comes in an ebook, and this is the paperback version. Or you can check out the whole long signing class, which is really great, and it will give you a whole deep dive into everything. That is over at the website, or it's also included in mentorship. Okay. Couple more comments here. I think I got everybody's comments. Yeah. So what are we talking about today? What questions do you have for me while I am here live? And while I'm here, somebody asked me in the comments the other day about the journal. They were like, "You don't have a purple one." But of course I got a purple one. So this is the purple journal. If you haven't seen the video release of this, I added some features that are not commonly found in journals. There's a area for you to put the number of stamps that you did, your notary fee, and a spot for your travel fee. There's a sample oath included. At the top, I even took the liberty to put the hire and signing company / space for you to put their name. Because a lot of times you forget, who was the signing company that hired me? And you got to go back and chase your money down. You kind of need to know that. Okay. So this was the purple, because somebody said, "You don't have a purple one." I'm like, "Yeah, no, I got some purple and some pink." This one is another favorite with the butterfly. There are 10 in the collection, so go and check out all 10 at notaryeducatorsllc.com under the journal collection, okay? And that was my animal one. So what else do you have today? What questions do we have? As far as Notary Educators, what's going on with us, the next event is going to be on Friday night at 7 o'clock. And again, we're going to be doing translation services, how to add that to your business. I'm going to give you a sneak peek. If you don't know what translation services are, really quick, it doesn't mean you have to speak another language, okay? It doesn't mean you have to speak another language. You are facilitating the translation of the document. So for example, I've completed documents in Spanish, Russian, Japanese, French. Okay. I don't speak all those languages. My clients do, and for whatever reason. One guy needed a car brought over from another country. Notary, I'm putting in my title on my thumbnail, on my YouTube video. Notary Long Signing Agent Training. Yeah. He needed to have his car registered here in Georgia. So that's not going to happen, though, because the document was in another language. And if the Secretary of State or DMV cannot read the documents, then that's not going to happen, right? Let me hear you say yes. So now that document needs to be translated. So your client is like, "I don't know what to do." So who do they call? The notary. And why are they calling me? Because I'm advertising. I offer translation services. So my client has never called me and say, "Hey, do you speak these languages?" No. They just need to know that I can get it completed for them. So again, I have a whole course on that. We are going to do a deep dive into it, and it's very clear, but we're going to do a whole deep dive into that on Friday night. We have a question. GG Solution says, "Hi, Kimmi. I'm interested in apostille, but my Secretary of State is 2 hours away." No big deal, GG Solutions. You got a couple of ways that you can handle that, okay? I go over this in the apostille training, which is also included in mentorship, or you can buy it separately using that coupon code WIN2025 at notaryeducatorsllc.com. Now, we are not leaving any money on the table. Just because you do not live near the Secretary of State does not mean you cannot process or help get it completed. If you're too far from the Secretary of State, you have a couple things you can do. You can mail it in to the Secretary of State. They will mail it back to you. You can hire somebody, what we say, boots on the ground, that lives right there by the Secretary of State, and pay them a little money to be your courier. They get it done for you, send it back to you, give it to your client. So we're not leaving any money on the table, no excuses. It's not like, well, I don't live near the Secretary of State. It doesn't matter. You don't have to. Matter of fact, I facilitate apostilles nationwide, right? I don't live in California, so I have to find me a notary in California to do it for me, right? I don't live in Texas, so I have to hire somebody in Texas if I want it done ASAP to see can I get boots on the ground, and they will facilitate it for me. So that's not a reason for you not to do it. You just need to know how to do it, okay? And that's something I find a lot of times people just don't know how to get something completed, okay? So you can do apostilles. It doesn't matter where you live at. You can also facilitate them, okay? So that's not a hindrance or obstacle for you, okay? Anybody can do them. You just have to know how to do them, okay? So that's a good question, though. So you don't have to live near the Secretary of State no more than you have to speak another language. Remember, I just finished talking about translation services, right? So I don't speak all those languages, but I do help my clients to get their documents completed, okay? Because I know how to do it. They're paying me for knowledge. And while we're talking about apostilles right quick, sometimes people will say, well, why would they pay you to do it? And they can do it themselves much cheaper. They could, but they won't, and they don't know how to. And it's not complicated, but it is detailed. And if it's not right, your client's going to have a problem, okay? They are going to have a problem, and we don't want them to have a problem. So it's better if they go ahead and pay us. It's part of our services that we offer, and we get it done without them having any problems or concerns, okay? Because a lot of times, again, your clients, they are paying for convenience. Can't you drive up to McDonald's to get your food? But instead, what do? Tell me what you do. When the last time you called Uber? Uber Eats. Right? Can't you go up there and pick up your own stuff? Yeah, but we call Uber Eats. Can't you go pick up your own groceries? But you're doing Amazon Prime, right? Paying an annual fee. So people pay for services nowadays. If you offer any kind of service-based business, you can make a killing. That means you can make a lot of money. Because people pay for services. They would rather pay you to cut the grass, right, than cut it themselves. They'd rather pay you, right? We see that all day long. They would rather pay you to do the bushes and trim them up or whatever than themselves get out there and do it. All right. So there are a few people that just love doing their own lawn. When I grew up and where I grew up in Michigan, that was a badge of honor to go out there and cut your grass, right? My throat is so dry. Sorry, guys. Hold on. That was a badge of honor to cut your own grass. But nowadays, people pay for everything. They do. They don't want to do it. So I'm trying to think of something that I do that I don't want to do, that I would pay somebody to do. The older I get, it's more and more. I'm like, I could wash my own car. Matter of fact, when I was younger, that was a badge of honor too. I like to go out there and wash my own car, and have my not drop top, but have my windows down or whatever, and listen to my music as I'm cleaning out the inside. And now I'm like, okay, where that guy for $20? I could drive through for $5. You know what I'm saying? So Notary Giant is in the house. How you doing, Notary Giant? I saw your your avatar thingy or your AI thing you did. That was so cute. I just saw that. That was so cute. He says, how's business? Business is good. Business is good. I'm still always doing something. I had a letter the other day that was just kind of interesting. So that's why I say you need to know how to notarize anything. Somebody was trying to do something regarding a relationship. Kind of mentioned that a little bit, but that was kind of interesting. But yeah, just to be able to notarize anything. Let's see. GG Solutions. So I'm good, Notary Giant. How are you doing? GG Solutions says, thanks, Kimmi. I just joined your membership. Oh, you are so welcome. I'm looking forward to working with you. So just for those that are thinking about joining right now, let me tell you a little bit about the membership and how it works. So we have like 16 different courses, everything you need to do your business, literally to start your business, to grow your business, to add additional services. We have the Notarize Like a Pro. We have the How to Price Your Services is always an issue for people. That's a course. The tax course, remote online notary, apostille is even included. Wedding officiant, everything you need, literally A to Z to do your business is included. And on top of that, we meet weekly. We meet weekly. This week's session again is about adding translation services. So the first few minutes of all of our sessions is a little teaching because I like to teach notary educators. The second part of it is all about your business. Where can we best help you? In addition to that, there's a live chat that is going on all day. So you can hop in the chat if you have a question about something. The chat is not to teach you how to be a notary. The chat is to refine what you've been learning through the courses, okay? So sometimes people may get that twisted a little bit. It's not to say, well, can I do this or can I do that? Did you do the course? And I can tell if you did the course based on your question. So if I push back and ask you another question, it's not that I'm being funny, but it's just that I want you to be the best. I want you to notarize like a pro. Okay? I don't just wear this. I don't just say that. It's not just a slogan. It is my slogan, but it's not just a slogan. I really want you to be a pro at what you're doing, and that's how your business is going to grow. You know? So let's see. So we'll see you soon. Lori W. Thank you, Lori. Oh, Lori says, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, Lori. I always forget that. Isn't that crazy? I'm a YouTuber. I should know that. I be so focused on the information. Notary Giant says, I'm okay. Thank you. It's the AI fiction. Wait a minute. It's the AI action figure challenge. Oh, okay. Because I've been seeing a lot of people do that with this AI, and it's like an action figure box. So it's really cute. Oh, it's a challenge. I didn't know it was a whole challenge. Okay. What app are you using to do that? What app are you using for this AI challenge? Is that Chat GPT or what are you using? How do you get the little box to do it? Oh, it is Chat GPT. Okay. I pay $40 a year for my Chat GPT, so I don't know if I'm paying enough. It does what I needed to do, but there may be different levels to it. I might need to check into it because I see people talking about their logos and all this kind of stuff. I've just been hiring Fiverr for that kind of stuff, but I might need to check into it. What other questions do we have? I am live here, guys, in the flesh, talking all things notary. Today we did a little session about how to do a buyer's package. And if you haven't seen my new book, Become a Notary Signing Agent, check it out. Check it out. And the new journal collection is amazing. That's what I've been up to, in addition to doing my actual notary business, which is called None Better Mobile Notary. What kind of signings have I been seeing recently? I always do everything, so that's why when people ask me that, it's kind of hard for me to say, well, I have 5 loan signings because today I might have an ink fingerprinting, tomorrow I might have an apostille. I do translation services, as I mentioned earlier. Notary Giant, do you offer translation services in your business? I'm just curious. Are you offering that? Because I know you're in New York. Are you offering translation services in your business? Let me know. Matter of fact, how many of you here are offering translation services? Is it on your Google page? Are you offering it? And if not, why? Because you don't know how to do it. You never heard of it. Why? Why? How much do I typically make on translation services? Anywhere from $40 to $50. Anywhere from 40 to 50. Depending on how many documents they need to have translated, is depending on how much I charge, because I don't want them to just feel like they've been ripped off. You know what I'm saying? So if the translation fee is already high, I'll just add a little bit to it. It depends on if I have to travel to them and take them the documents, if they're going to pick up the documents. I'll look at all that. GG Solution says, I don't offer translating services. Okay. All right. And why are you offering GG Solutions? Are you new to notary, period? I'm just curious. We could talk more when I see you actually during the session. on Friday. But let me know, why are you not offering um, translation services? Have you not heard of it before? You don't know how to do it? Let me know. And if that's the case, we are going to get you up to speed so you can know how to do it, when you're ready. You may not be ready for it at this point because you're just starting out, but I would eventually like you to be able to offer that. And that's how you're going to be more successful. So some people say, well, you can't really make any money being a notary. If you know how to do it, you can. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you what that looks like really quick. So, and we've been doing the math the last few times I've been on. So let's just say if you do one job, we're trying to make, let's just say, 3,000 a month. Okay, most people are not making $3,000 a month at their job. So let's just say 3,000. We got 30 days. You don't even have to work 30 days. Let's just say you make $150 a day times, let's do 24. How much is that? 3,600. 24. So let's say you make $150 a day times 24 days, and that's 3,600 a month. Okay. How do you make that 150 per day? Let's do some math. Let's say you have one signing. It could be, let's just say, a loan mod, $50. Let's just say 50. One loan mod for 50. Okay. And let's just say you do two loan signings. Let's say they $50 each too. So that's three jobs that you did. Just three. Average time for each of those jobs is 30 minutes. Okay, loan mod shouldn't take that long. General notary work, most general notary jobs are less than 10 minutes depending on what it is. So you got three jobs at $50 each, and that's on the low end. Okay, so that's $150 times 24 days. We're not even working every day of the month. Okay, that's at $3,600 right there. 3,600. So if you're not making $150 a day, doing three jobs, less than 3 hours, you might want to think about the notary business. You might need to think about mentorship so I can teach you how to make that money. Okay. A lot of you are working full time. I get that. So this may be a side business for you. I don't like to say side hustle, side business for you. Okay. Let's go back to some of the comments. So do you see the math though? 150 times 24. 150 doesn't sound like a lot. Now, I don't travel all over Atlanta. If I were to increase my radius that I travel, my area that I travel, I could make more money. But I'm kind of picky at this point. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to only work like, well, that's not really a good example because the way Atlanta is situated. So I work Rockdale County, Gwinnett County, DeKalb County. And I will go as far as Monroe, which is like 30 minutes, 45 sometimes, if the pay is right. But imagine if I worked all the way in Atlanta, in Decatur. I mean, I got the whole freaking state that I can service, but I don't do that. So can you make $150 a day? You can. You can. I've made more than that. Okay. But it just depends. So is every day going to be $150 a day? No. What if today is 150, tomorrow's 300? What if today is nothing, tomorrow's 300? So I'm just giving you some averages to think about though. Okay. And even some of these cheaper jobs, like $30, people say, well, I don't want to work for $30. But if you do three of those a day at $90, so we got three $30 jobs, right? Times, let's do that same 24 days. That's $2,100 a month. Could you do something extra with $2,100? I think you could. Could you pay a house payment with $2,100 doing three $30 jobs? Yeah. Yeah. And don't forget, they only take like 10 minutes for a long mile once you learn how to do it. Okay. So let's see. Ivory Solution says, need that book. I'm new to notary in Arizona. How do you perform translation services? So Ivory Solutions, I would say buy my book, How to Start Your Notary Business First in the state of Arizona. Okay, let's start there so you can learn how to be a notary basically and what all is included in the notary business since you're brand new. Okay, this book I'm talking about here is when you're ready to become a loan signing agent. So there's two different things, similar but two different. Okay, this book really is about do's and don'ts for notary signing agent. What to do at the signing table when this happens. What to do at the signing table when that happens. So that's what this book is. But you probably need to start your notary business book. I got one here. This one is for Indiana, but every state has their own book. Okay, so start there, and that way you can get a nice overview. Got Florida. Everybody got their own book. Indiana. I think I did Indiana, Florida, right? So anyway, that's what I would recommend you start, so you can get an overview. So translation services is just that, though. Your client has a document from another country, and it may not even be another country. It might be local. It's in another language, and they need to get it translated. So they can look it up and figure out how to do it themselves, but most of them will not. Back to like I was saying earlier, the same reason we hire Uber Eats, we hire Instacart if we got our groceries. It's just that we don't want to be bothered, right? We pay somebody to do everything. They got laundry services now, and that's nothing new either, but it's becoming more popular. Cleaning your house. Back in the day, that was a luxury for certain people to get their house clean, right? Nowadays, the average person can afford to get their house clean because they start out with an $18 service just to get in your home, and it may go up to $50. People are like, I got $50. I don't want to have to clean my house. If you're going to come out weekly and do it for $50, they'll pay you. So you help the client to get the document translated. And a lot of times that don't even involve driving to them. They email it to you, you get it complete and give it back to them. Okay. And you got to see how they want to get it back. There are different ways to do translation services because sometimes the client needs an actual ATA translator, American Translator Association, I think it is. Can't think right this second. But they need a actual person that's been trained. And then other times they might just need a translator. But either way, I always do it the right way because I don't want no errors and mistakes. So I can call one of my friends and say, hey, can you translate this? But I always just usually hire it out. And then you add a little fee on it and give it back to the client. Okay. GG Solutions said that they hadn't heard of it and don't know how to do it. Well, you will know how to do it and how to add it to your business because I'm going to show you how in your mentorship, or either you could buy the course separately. As I already mentioned, all things notary, just check out our website, notaryeducatorsllc.com, and you can see all the different courses. So the Notary Giant says for new notaries, master each type in the notary industry before moving to complex services. Yes, Notary Giant. And that is exactly what I teach people. You have to know the basics. You cannot do anything in this industry if you do not know how to properly notarize. So you will hear people say, well, you don't have to be a notary to be an apostille agent, or you don't have to be a notary to do. You do not have to be a notary, but I teach that in every one of my courses is you have to be a great notary. Not just a notary, a great notary. You have to know these notarization processes before you can do translation services, before you can do apostille services. So my goal and my role as an educator is to educate you about the different things that you can do. I never suggest that you should do everything at one time because I never did everything at one time. It's impossible for the average person to do every single service that you can do immediately. It's just impossible. What I recommend is that you start with general notary work. I always say once you learn general notary work, you're going to be a beast master out there. Ain't nothing you can't do. Okay. Once you master general notary work, then you become a loan signing agent. That's what I recommend. Then you can add apostille services. Then you can add translation services. And actually a lot of times with apostille work, you need to know translation services because those documents will need to be translated before they can be apostilled. So to Notary Giant's point, always master one thing before you learn the next. And sometimes you're going to be forced to learn something you're not even ready to because your client will ask you to do things that that you don't even know nothing about. Example, I had a client, and I got a few minutes today because my appointments were earlier today, so I got a few minutes. I'm gonna hang out. But one of my clients, I did a general notary work for him, and he goes, "Hey, I need you to go and do a passport picture for my aunt who's in the hospital." I wasn't offering passport photos. I was like, I told him that too. I said, that's not something that I offer. He was like, Kimberly, you can do it. My clients have so much confidence in me. And I was like, okay. So I did a little research on it. So me and Jeffrey, we went and bought a white construction board, went to the hospital, put it behind the client, took her passport photo, uploaded it to an app, went and picked it up and gave it to my client. I undercharged it because I wasn't sure what I was doing. He was satisfied, paid me double what I asked for. Because that passport photo had to be taken. So he pushed me into doing something that I wasn't even comfortable with my own self. So I do offer passport photos. I even bought the actual little card holders and everything, the paper, but I haven't had that many requests for it. So that's why I don't teach it. But I have, if someone calls me right now, say, hey, I need a passport photo taken, I'll do it. Again, it's not my favorite thing in the world to do, but I will do it if someone calls me, and I know how to now because my client made me do it. That's why I said sometimes you may say, well, I don't want to do apostille services, or I don't want to do translation services, or whatever. But your clients, they will ask you, they will tell you what they need. If you can't provide the service, they will find someone who can. So that's going to be up to you. And I always teach my students, don't turn down no money. Me and you can work it out together. We can split it, you know? Don't just be like turning down money. Now, my preference is for you to get the money yourself. So that's why I say stay ready so you don't have to get ready, okay? But if you're always of the mindset, well, I'm not ready, it's too much, I can only do this, I can only do that. Yeah, that's not working for me because that's not how I run a full-time notary business. It's just not. I started my full-time notary business by being able to offer multiple services. I cannot sit around all day waiting on general notary work. I do not sit around all day waiting on loan signings. I do not sit around waiting all day on apostilles. And when my phone rings, I'm able to do all the services that I actually teach you how to do, with the exception of wedding officiant. I do not do that. I have a course on it because I know how to do it. I just choose not to. And I cannot do remote online notary because I'm in the state of Georgia and it's not legal here. But I know enough about it because I'm an educator where I can tell you about it and you can make an informed choice, okay? So that's how this thing works right here. So I'm never going to tell you not to learn these additional services. I don't think it should take you 2 or 3 years to be adding additional services. Again, everybody has their viewpoint. So for some people, it may be too much for them to try to learn anything else. Your skill set, your capacity, or what do they call your bandwidth, all these new words like that. You may not be able to, and that's cool. You don't have to, but I want you to know what is available to you. And if you decide you want to have a full-blown notary business, be about it, because again, your clients will push you. I have one more example of my client pushing me into something, and I'll take a few more of these comments here. I had another client when Zelle, it didn't first come out. I had Zelle already, but Zelle actually came out with a QR reader. And I talk about this in accepting payments. They came out with a QR reader where excuse me, with a QR reader where now your client can just show you their QR. You show them your QR thing, and they just take their phone and put it over the QR reader, and it automatically goes to where it needs to go. So I told my client, I was like, yeah, I said, let me just give you my information to put in. He was like, no. He was like, you're going to learn how to do it today. And I was like, is he kidding me? I said, how you going to tell me what I'm getting ready to learn? So sure enough, he said, I have a few minutes. Let me show you how it works. Okay, great. And I took time. I humbled myself because I'm like, hey, I'm the notary educator. I don't need you to show me how to take no payment. Are you kidding? Not. So he said, I'm going to show you how to do it. So he did. It was the best thing since sliced bread. Changed my business model when it comes to taking Zelle. I created a little contact for it. So now that QR reader thing is always there. Boom, boom, boom. They take the pic, use their phone, open up the camera, and my money goes immediate, okay? I thank my client to this day. Every time I use that QR thing, I think about him. Every single time. Even in our mentorship, hey, your girl is open to learn from everybody. So I'm doing mentorship, right? I'm the educator extraordinaire, and I'm learning from you guys. How? So the journal, this is paperback. Beautiful. I love it. But one of my students said, hey, does it come in hard copy? I was like, no. I thought about it that night. I said, well, why can't it come in hard copy? So guess what I did? They all come in hard copy, paperback and hard copy. And the hard copy is amazing. I can't even choose which one I want to use yet. I still have not chosen. I think for me, it's going to be the yellow one with the purple flower. If you have not seen that, check out the whole collection at notaryeducatorsllc.com. But my point is, one of my students said, hey, does it come in hard copy? That's all he had to do was ask me a question. And I was like, well, why can't it? So yeah, it can. So it's in hard copy. I even just sent his off to him as a nice little gift. Another student, Lisa, I think she's still here. She was talking about doing field inspection. I have a little piece of field inspection in the specialty course. And Lisa says, hey, she was telling me about her, or telling the whole chat about her experience with her field inspection. And people have been asking me to have a field inspection course for a long time. And I'm like, I figured I got that little piece in the course is good enough. But after her experience, I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and write this course. Because it did require a little bit more information. And it's a beautiful course. So if you've not checked out the field inspection course, hey, check it out. I got somebody doing their first one today. Okay, so I'm proud of her. So my point being is that I don't limit myself. I don't teach you to limit yourself. I'm open to learning from other people. I got one more for you. Somebody else in the mentorship program, he was telling us about these Google review cards. I had saw it before, thought about it, but didn't do it. And he was mentioning it, and I said, you know what? I'm going to get that card. So, hey, check out the free notary supply list. Shout out to my friend Kent. And I ordered that card. The next day, that baby came, and every client, I'm like, could you leave me a review, please? Boom. Can you leave me a review? And it's so funny because all I want them to do sometimes is just leave me 5 stars. They don't have to actually write something. This lady I had at a hospital recently, she was like, I have to say something. I'm not just going to hit 5 stars. I want to say something. Actually, I had 2 people do that. This other guy was like, as good as you were, I need to say some words. And I was like, okay. But I'm thinking to myself, I don't need you to say nothing. Just leave me 5 stars. But, you know, I'm very appreciative that they wanted to go a little bit extra. So my point being is, don't limit yourself, okay? Yes, you need to be a great notary. And I'm not suggesting that that's what Notary Giant is saying, but I also am going to tell you, if you want a full-blown notary business, if you don't offer these services to your clients, someone else will. And that's just facts. That's just facts. I have students all day, non-students, people in the Facebook, other Facebook groups, reaching out to me, hey, Kimmi, I don't know how to do an apostille. Do you want the job? Hey, Kimmi, I don't know how to do ink fingerprinting. Can you walk me through it? Hey, Kimmi, how do you do an I-9? All the stuff I'm telling you, there's a course for that, and it's in our mentorship program for one low price. Okay, that's why I said 2025, no more excuses. No more excuses. So if you don't know how to do these different services, if you don't know how to complete the I-9, if you're not doing e-fingerprinting, if you're not doing all these different things, they will find somebody to do it. They will. So I don't offer wedding officiant. I already know that when people call me, and it's rare, but I get about maybe 2-3 a month requests for a wedding officiant. I already know I'm going to lose that business. Or I'm going to refer it out. I do have a couple notaries that are doing it, so I just say, hey, I don't do it, but I have a buddy that does it. Okay, but typically your girl's trying to keep all money in-house. Okay, I refer out as least as possible. Less as possible. Okay, let's see what else. Notary Giant says, oh, Ivory Solutions was thanking Notary Giant. Ivory Solutions says, I'm thinking about taking it full time. That's what I want to do. Yeah. So if you want to do full time, again, the best way to do that and to be successful at it is to be able to offer all these different things. Okay. And that's just facts. Ivy Solutions says, load me up. Yeah. So again, you don't have to learn all of it overnight. You don't have to add all of it within a week. But you should, if you're going to do it full time, it should be with the intent of one stop. Your client only needs to call you. They shouldn't call me for a basic notarization. Oh, yeah, I know I got stories for days. I got one more for you. I talked about this last month because it happened last month. Someone called me to do an apostille for them, right? This is the reason why you have to be a great notary, even to facilitate apostilles. You have to be a great notary. Some stuff you cannot just learn from YouTube. You have to be taught, okay? So anyway, so I had a client wanted me to do an apostille. I get there. I always look at the notarization before I take the document to be apostilled. I don't just go pick up the document and say, okay, let me take it and get it apostilled and bring it back to you. No, I have to look it over for thoroughness and make sure it's correct, right? So in this particular case, the notary did notarize it correctly, but the notary stamp was expiring in 3 days. Okay? This man was getting ready to get married over in another country. That document was not going to be valid after 3 days. Right? It was a single person affidavit. It was not going to be valid. So you cannot I said, well, sir, when are you getting married? He was like, I don't know. So I had to redo the notarization. I had to redo the form. I should have charged my client, really, but I knew he had just paid somebody else, so I didn't charge him. But that's something that you would not know. So if I took that down there to get apostilled, it would be correct, right? Because the notarization was within 3 days. But when my client goes to use it over in Jamaica or wherever he was getting married, it's not going to be valid. And he's going to be calling me and like, this document is expired. I can't even use it. You didn't know that when you was getting all my money? People are paying you for expertise. They're paying you for the skill set. Okay? So you have to be a great notary. There's no workaround for that. So everything I'm talking about, I'm just sharing information. I ain't expecting you to start doing all this stuff the next day, right? I just told you that. But I am saying you have to know what you're doing, because I could have easily went ahead with the whole process. Like I said, he go over there thinking he got his single person affidavit all apostilled and ready to go. And they tell him over there, well, this expired 6 months ago. So the notary stamp needs to be within a certain time frame. Okay? The document cannot be older than a certain time. It's a lot of variables that go into apostilles. People say, well, I just learned it in Facebook. I'll just have somebody walk me through it. I'll call Secretary of State. Well, Secretary of State may not even know that. Okay, this is just things that I learned because I'm an educator. I've done it. I've seen it, right? The other notary didn't make a mistake. And guess what? Guess the other piece of that is. Tell me one more piece of that. I'm about to send somebody a journal. What was interesting about that story that I just told? Now, it was a lot of pieces to it, so let's see if anybody gets it, because I'm about to send out a journal. If somebody figures out what was interesting about that story. So another notary did the notary piece. I had to do the apostille piece. What was up with that? I'm getting my pen and paper so I can get ready to send somebody a journal. Why is that interesting? What happened with that other notary? What happened? Tell me. Somebody tell me in the comments. Charmaine says, hey, Charmaine. Hi, Kimmi. I need mentorship. I became a notary in North Carolina in December last year, and I've been nervous to start because I need to do mock signings. Can you help? Yeah, you need more than mock signings, okay, Charmaine? You need to actually know your business, and then it will all make sense to you. Just doing a mock signing is not going to help you. Either you know how to notarize or you don't, okay? If you don't know how, let's get that skill set, and then we can move to the next level, okay? But doing a mock signing is not going to help you, and you don't really know what you're doing and why you're doing it, right? So yes, but we can definitely help you. So check out notaryeducatorsllc.com, okay? And congratulations on getting your commission, and let's make some money with that. And yes, we can help you. Blessed Sister says, hey, Kimmi, I noticed the signing services had many abandoned assets. I don't know about that. I could not find any information on that. Yeah, it's just another service, another document. That's all. That's why I said don't get caught up in what kind of document it is. If you want to do it, you can. Okay? Or if you know how to. Do not just take jobs and you don't know what you're doing. So the document itself, a piece of paper is a piece of paper is a piece of paper. I can notarize this. I can notarize this. Anything up in here. I can notarize this receipt if somebody want me to, okay? You just need to know how to do it. GG Solution says, I'm having issues signing up for the Zoom meeting and joining the group meeting. GG Solutions, I'm having issues signing up for the Zoom meeting and joining the group meeting. What do you mean? The group me? Are you trying to join now, GG? The group me? Is that what you're referring to? Group me? The Zoom meeting is not going to happen until Friday. Have you tried to do one before and couldn't get access? Clarify that for me. Charmaine says, just signed up. Welcome, Charmaine. Yes. And I will see you live on Friday night, okay? Welcome. You're going to be excited. I'm excited for you. Iris Solution says, thank you for your time and knowledge hanging out with us. Oh, you're so welcome. I'm about to wrap this up, too. Lisa says, I'll be calling you for my passport pics, Miss Kimmi. I'll do it for you, Lisa. Okay. Probably I'll do it for you. Probably. Hey, Jasmine. What's up? Ivory Solution says, I just made my business legit today. Congratulations. Lori says, it is gorgeous. Oh, yeah. I think Lori got that purple journal. That's what she's talking about, I think. Andrea, hey, Andrea. Hello, peeps. What's up, Andrea? Nyla says, should you start your LLC while still learning the basics of notary business? I say pump the brakes on doing the business part and learn the business first. And it won't take you that long to get a couple things under your belt. And then let's double back and do that LLC, okay? Because there's a whole build your business course. Take you step by step how to do that. The EIN, LLC, business banking, da-da-da. Let's learn what we're doing first, okay? That's my recommendation. I like to do things in a process, step by step. Lisa's just saying, hey to Andrea. Ashanti, what's up? No more, you're right. Yeah, no more excuses. Andrea is just saying, hey. To Lisa, Ivory Solutions. Nyla Shay says, get that bag. Always be learning and elevating. I'm just in the beginning too. Kimmi is amazing. Oh, you guys are sweet. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Expiration date. No, Andrea. I might didn't even word that correctly. I'm going to come back to my story. Let me make myself a note, though. What was unique about that story I just told y'all? Helena says, hello, just received my commission. Hey, Helena. First time Notary Public. Love your educational channel. Oh, it's my pleasure. That's why we call ourselves Notary Educators. I just love educating because knowledge is power, especially when you put it into action and motion. Ivory Solution says notarizing with an almost expired number and the other notary didn't offer the service. Ding, ding, ding. Ivory Solutions, you get it. Send me your email at Notary Educators, their address, and in the subject line put journal. Tell me which one you want. Tell me which journal you want. If you want paperback or hardcover, I'll send you either one you want. And let me know which one. So let me put Ivory Solutions. You got it. So the reason she just won that journal, he or she, is because the other notary, if you listen to the story, they did the notarization, right? They did the notarization. They also had 3 days left on their notary commission, right? And they didn't offer apostille services. That's why I was called, because I offered the service. So this other notary might have made $35, $50 on doing it incorrectly because it wasn't no good technically. Even if I was the other notary, I would have been like, you know what are you using this document for? I would even ask my client, especially knowing it expires in 3 days. I probably wouldn't even notarize somebody's stuff with a 3-day stamp like that. I just wouldn't. Why are they using it? What do they need it for? You know, I would ask those kind of questions, being the notary extraordinaire that I am, the educator, because I don't know what they need that document for. If I knew my stamp was expiring in 2 to 3 days, I need to ask them a few more questions because I don't want them to be stuck not being able to use their document. Does that make sense? Ivory Solutions got it. They didn't offer the service. So they were able to notarize it with a 3-day expiration left on their stamp. They did not offer apostille services. That's why I was called and I caught the mistake and I had to redo it. That's why I say you should be able to do everything. That's why I say you need to be able to do everything. And not just do it, but do it well. Ivory Solutions just got a journal. Okay? Just got a journal. So, Ivory Solutions, please go to Notary Educators, LLC at gmail.com. In the subject line, put one notary journal, okay? And tell me what color, whatever you want. And also your address so I can get that sent out to you, okay? Let me know. Let me know, and I will get that sent out to you. All right? And it might take a little bit longer to get it because it will be an editor's edition of it, like a personal editor for me, the writer. So those take a little bit longer. If you were paying full price for it, it comes like in 2 days. So just beware, but you will get it. And they're very nice. So Ivory Solutions did get it. Did you all capture that though? Did you capture what just happened? The other notary didn't offer apostille services. Very good. Lisa says they didn't know what they were doing. Yes, that's true too. Because they would have known what, or they would have inquired or should have thought to say, what are you using this for? My expiration is coming up. But they didn't. They just thought about, let me stamp it, let me get my money. The rest of it, I don't care what happened with your document. And see, that's another customer service thing too. I don't just only worry about what I'm doing with that document. What is the client doing with the document? Where's it going? When do they need it? Right? Oh, guys, I'm staying longer than I wanted to. Excuse me, I'm gonna get the rest of these questions though. Ivory Solutions, become that one-stop shop. Yes, and now you see exactly why that is so important. So I run my business, guys, like a business. This is not a hobby for me. Okay, YouTube and all this education and stuff, it's not a hobby. This is my business. This YouTube is a part of my business, but I have my own notary business, and I can't be messing up out there. All right, Andrea, congratulations on your commission. Charmaine says, thank you. Lisa, I do a lot of abandoned assets. They're easy. Thank you, Lisa. So again, it's just a document, though, at the end of the day. A piece of paper is a piece of paper. If you know how to notarize like Lisa does, then you'll be able to get it done. Andrea, too. These are people that's in mentorship. Blessed sister says the other notary will get a bad review experience and will not get called back. That's all going to happen. Because once that person, if I had not figured it out for them, once they take it over there and they're trying to get married and they say, this is expired, that was not going to be pretty. That was not going to be pretty. Ashante says the notary didn't know their business clearly. If you're not catching that, it could have been bad. That's true. They need your training. That's funny. And I actually knew the other notary, but I didn't dare call them. I don't do stuff like that. I actually knew the other notary. That's what made it even funnier. Because I was like, okay. But again, they don't do apostille. So in their defense, I know that they don't. I'm glad you guys picked up on that little gem in that story. That was a big gem, actually. All right. They couldn't have asked the basic questions prior to notarizing. Correct. That is so true, Ashanti. Very good. Yeah, very good. Thank you all for your comments. So I appreciate it. GG Solutions says, I couldn't access the Zoom link provided. So what Zoom link? Because you shouldn't even be accessing it right this second because we don't meet till Friday. And I'm glad you told me that, though, because I need to check and see if it's working. So let me look really quick while I got you here. Because if you tried to click it, I should have got a note. So let me just look really quick. And while we're doing that, what other comments do we have? Let me see. The Zoom link for Friday. You'll get a second one coming out. I always try to send out a reminder, too. Let me see. Go back. Let me see. Andrea retracted that. Helena, all hearts. Let's see. Yes, ma'am. Group me is showing pending. Oh, yeah. GG Solutions. I will let you in as soon as I'm off my live because I don't want to mess up the live like I normally do. Let me see. Can I click the Zoom? Why is it not letting me click it? Okay, let me look one more place right quick because you should be able to click the Zoom link. However, it is too early for you to get in because we're not live. So you still should be able to click it. Let me see. Why is the Zoom link not working? Let me see. It's not working. All right, girl, thank you. Okay, I'll fix that and see what's going on with that Zoom link. Okay. And I'll let you in the group me as soon as I'm off the live. Okay. Ivory Solutions, you are so welcome. Nyla Shay. Ivory Solutions says proper steps. Solutions coming in hot and ready. Thank you so much. Oh, Lisa's telling you congrats on your journal. I'm so honored to have this from you. You are so welcome. It is my pleasure. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you guys being here. Andrea's telling you congrats also. Nyla Shay, everybody saying you're welcome. You got this. All right, we're going to get ready to end this. Andrea says the last thing. Andrea got the last comment. My buddy Andrea says, abandoned property is easy, less than 6 minutes in and out. Look at Andrea. I'm so proud of y'all. When I say that, I really mean that. Y'all know we done been through some stuff over in chat and phone calls when required. So you guys are doing amazing. I'm so proud of you guys. I just am. You're doing the work. You work the program works. And these ladies here that are telling you these things, they are working the program. So I'm proud of each and every one of them. Okay. And I'm so blessed that we could be on your journey with you. So I don't have to say that much. My people speak for me, you know, and the results are showing. So they're doing amazing. Nyla says, thank you, Miss Kimmi. You totally rock, and blessing to the Notary fam. Thank you. Yes, they are doing amazing. Everybody. Lori, too. Look at Lori. Everybody. Let's see. We got the best educator. You guys are super dope, too. I'm telling you. Thank you all. Lori says, thank you all because of our great leader, Kimmi. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. That's enough. Y'all doing the thing. I can't wait to see everybody on Friday night. I am going to get out of here. But again, to all of you, I'm wishing you much success and many blessings on your notary journey, okay? And don't forget, Ivory Solutions, send me that info. All right, my Lisa. Bye, Lisa. Bye, Lori. Bye, Andrea. GG Solutions. Everybody. I'm going to see y'all soon, okay? Bye.